Hello, our truth warriors. How's everyone doing? I'm sorry you haven't seen much of me late, but I promise you I will be getting some new videos together. The world's crazy. We're having a ringside seat to absolute madness unfolding. Whether we want to look at the murders and the assassinations that are going on, but a lot of emotional triggering for people globally around the world, to the point where we are starting to take to the streets en masse in civil unrest, which sounds like a great idea until you consider how we got there and who is actually controlling this. And that's the dangerous part, you see. Those who want to gain control over humanity can only do it in certain ways. And unfortunately, these certain ways is to trigger people emotionally, to get them into a state that will make them uprise, which will make them try and overthrow things, which will cause major civil unrest and violence. And this is all part of a very well orchestrated divide and conquer technique. Now, if you've never heard of divide and conquer before, this is something you should look up. This isn't something new. This is something that has gone through many centuries, and it has always been a way to control people. So when we get emotionally involved with something, we do need to take a step back. We need to take a clear look at what is emotionally triggering us and why we are acting in the way that we are. And usually it's best to go in a completely opposite direction than with the main flow of people who have been controlled and programmed to react in a certain way. I just recently put a post out saying, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, gay, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, it doesn't matter, because our lives unfortunately don't matter. If we think the government is our friend, you're very much mistaken. And media and everything else that gets behind this is a tool to create those emotional triggerings in people and bring about the divide and conquer technique. What you have to look at is who you hate at the moment, why you hate them. Let's just take an example of the immigrants and the illegal immigrants. In England right now, one of the major problems and one of the major pushes of protests is because deliberately the UK, as well as many other countries around the world, has been flooded with illegal immigrants. I understand that people don't want them there, and I understand the reasons why, and a solidarity of strength behind a Union Jack or an English flag is certainly being displayed in England right now. But dig a little bit deeper, because once you scratch the surface of what's going on and start asking the questions you need to ask, then you start to get into a position to see where this control mechanism stems from. These illegal immigrants didn't just all decide to turn up. This is a very, very well orchestrated plan. And not only that, it's also a very, very well organized event for this to happen. You need to start asking the questions: who is behind the organizing of this? Who is putting the funding into this, the money, and allowing this to happen? And what is their major purpose? And I do believe that the major purpose is these uprisings that we're seeing. It is a classic divide and conquer technique. Now, what we need to do is figure out who these people are who are behind this, which is stemming into the likes of the government and larger groups that will fund from the banking systems to allow this to happen. Why do they want divide and conquer? Because you become easier to control. And unfortunately, if we do get triggered into a point where we create major civil unrest, then under law, they can bring out more laws to control you. And I do think that they will take advantage of this to push forward with digital IDs and wanting to know where everyone is at any certain time as they move forward to removing cash and putting us also onto a digital currency. There are methods and things that I am going to bring forward over the next 12 months and advise people on what I think is going to be the best way forward to protect ourselves, not only against this divide and conquer assault, but also the liberties and freedoms that will be taken. It's like the Patriot Act after 9/11. That's why when you go to the airport now, you're searched high and low, put through screening machines, biometrics, fingerprints, whatever it is they're doing at every other different airport around the world. But this is not a case of security on airplanes. I understand that was the excuse, and it was a perfect excuse to bring forward. But now you're having things stripped away from you that you had before because they brought in these rules and regulations. When we have civil unrest and an uprising against the governments around the world, which absolutely sounds fantastic because it takes out the tyrants, doesn't it? But does it? Is this not the play that they want you to do in order to remove more freedoms from you? And we really need to start thinking outside the box, being calm, not getting emotionally involved with what goes on. Because I'm seeing it. Social media, the likes of Facebook and Instagram and everything you see, Twitter, whatever. This is an echo chamber of public sentiment, which means every emotion that is triggered and every post that's put out there for what goes on in the world means that that has been a deliberate psychological psyop against humanity. And this is what's scary. Be careful, people, because at the end of the day, they will play you like a fool. Don't be fooled by it, and don't let the divide and conquer take you.